Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Warnock. I'm going to have a few final questions before we wrap up this hearing. Admiral, actually, and Master Chief, I want to get your views on the recruiting challenges. And by the way, all the services are having recruiting challenges, as you know. What actions has the Coast Guard taken to address your recruiting challenges, and what do your projections show about the health of your workforce moving forward?
Well, I'd like to thank the committee for the support that we have received to help address some of the recruiting challenge we've faced as an organization. We've been able to increase recruiter capacity, open new recruiting offices, and begin to just elevate awareness of who we are as an organization. We have made significant progress in recruiting. At this point in the year, we have onboarded more people into Cape May than we did the entirety of last year.
Good.
But there is still work to do. The talent management, workforce management work that we have embarked on will help make the service more attractive and to retain those members that we bring in. I am committed across the suite of levers that we have to recruit, make the service attractive to those who have a propensity to serve, and then to retain those members and their families once they've entered service. And again, I really appreciate the support that we have had, and we will continue to lean into.
And my understanding is your retention rates are actually pretty good. Is that true?
The retention rates are
re-enlistment. I mean, retention.
They're good. We have had a slight uptick in sort of decrease in retention in this past year. It is unclear at this point what that is a result of. Is it a kind of a re-leveling post-COVID? I don't know. At this point, I'm satisfied with where our retention numbers are. This is really an initial recruiting challenge for the enlisted workforce, in which one of the reasons why the Cape May investments become so critical as we continue to onboard that enlisted force into the service.
Do you have a view on the recruiting issues, Master?
Thank you, Senator. In addition to all the comments that the Commandant made, other investments are with our recruiters. We've invested in software that allows them, it's quicker to get from contact to a young member to actually getting them signed up and into boot camp. Those investments has helped. Thank you very much to the staff there. The wonderful news that we have is, while we don't have enough people coming into Cape May, the quality of human being that's coming into our United States Coast Guard is second to none.
Good.
I mean, they are absolutely the best this country has to offer. We need more. So we are very excited in that capacity, and we're doing a lot of efforts internally in the organization to where we simply tell our story better. We, as serving sentinels, do a better job. As the Commandant says quite often, when people know about the Coast Guard, we've got them. They love the Coast Guard. They want to be part of it.
Well, let me follow up with a related question. The Coast Guard Act of 2022 required the Coast Guard to maintain at least one JROTC program in every Coast Guard district. How do you view this as a potential recruiting tool to tell your story, and can we expect to see a JROTC program in Alaska soon pursuant to that Coast Guard Authorization Act provision from 2022?
We have been onboarding JROTC programs as well, and we're moving deliberately to expand those programs. We intend to comply with the Coast Guard Act. Look forward to working with your staff on where that is timing-wise. It has been a great tool for increasing awareness of who
Good.
we are as a service, and look forward to continuing to increase investments in the JROTC program.
Great. Let me turn to another topic, Admiral, that you and I have talked about a lot. I have a very comprehensive bill that the Coast Guard helped my team and I and Senator Whitehouse's team draft. It's called the Fish Act, which is all about going after IUU fishing and the importance of combating IUU fishing as it relates to sustainable fisheries, but also, let's face it, strategic competition with the Chinese Communist Party, which directs these gray fleets that ravage fisheries throughout the world. Oftentimes, countries in Latin America or in Africa, the only recourse they have to even trying to combat these Chinese fleets is assistance from the United States Coast Guard. Can you tell this committee the importance of that issue as it relates to our fisheries, but also strategic competition with China? I'm trying to get our Fish Act marked up here in the Commerce Committee soon, and I want to get a sense from you how you think that's an urgent issue. And I want to thank the Coast Guard for helping my team and Senator Whitehouse's team draft a lot of that bill.
Yep. Illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing is a global issue. Several years ago, the Coast Guard published an IUUF strategy to bring focus and alignment to the global scourge that is IUU fishing. We have worked to provide leadership across regions where IUU fishing is occurring. We've got great examples where bilateral fish rider agreements between the United States and a small island nation provide a great way to take that nation's organic sovereignty and law enforcement authorities over their own fishing stocks. That person comes onto a Coast Guard cutter, and we are able to help them provide a presence and, again, enforce their own sovereignty and protect their natural resources. We continue to engage, across the globe with other Coast Guards and navies to work to bring regional alignment to IUU fishing. It's a sovereignty issue, it's a theft issue, and left unchecked, it erodes the norms of maritime governance, and it needs to be addressed.
Let me end here with two questions relating to Alaska shipping, and then I see our chairman is here as well, which is welcome. Can you give me an update on the Waterways Commerce Cutter Program, and more specifically, the home porting decisions for the replacement for your inland buoy tenders, one of which happens to be located in Petersburg, Alaska, and I've worked with your predecessors on making sure Petersburg has coverage. That's a really important community in my state, a great fishing community that's also been very supportive of the Coast Guard over the years.
The Waterway Commerce Cutter is a critical acquisition for the nation. The cutters that we will replace with that acquisition program, some of them have been in service 70 plus years, that we owe our workforce in the maritime transportation system updated, current, modern waterway commerce cutters. And we'll continue to work forward with that acquisition to field those. And I've got a sense of urgency around the need to replace that capacity. We'll come to you and your staff with regard to we're still working through the phasing and home port decisions and laydowns as those ships come online, and happy to provide you details on.
Okay, that's an important community in my state to continue a Coast Guard presence. So I'd like to get details from you, Admiral, and your team on that one as it relates to Petersburg. And then second, you and I talked about this when we were traveling with Senator Murkowski recently, and this relates to the Coast Guard asset in the city of Valdez. In 2021, Valdez was designated a Coast Guard city. As you know, that's not easy to do. You got to meet a lot of important commitments to do that. The city is very proud of that designation. Unfortunately, the city is concerned that the Coast Guard has no plans to replace the U.S. cutter Liberty when it retires in a few years. And as you know, Admiral, since you've spent a lot of time out there, this is a really strategic area for Alaska, but also for America. The Trans-Alaska Pipeline terminates at the Valdez Marine Terminal, and that's a very significant amount of the nation's oil supply. Valdez is the northernmost ice-free port and supplies military munitions to 5 U.S. military bases located in Alaska. The Port of Valdez is a very large salmon fishery, handles close to 70 million in fish exports annually, and the port handles cargo and needed logistics equipment for major gold mines and mining in Delta and Fairbanks, and construction equipment for resource development throughout the state, including the North Slope of Alaska. And perhaps we can discuss this in more detail. I'd like the Coast Guard to look at extending the life of the Liberty in terms of its being ported in Valdez, and look at other replacement options and maybe some ideas that you have that the city and municipality of Valdez can do to partner with the Coast Guard to get a new vessel. So can I get your views on that? Just you and I have talked about it, but I'd like to get your views.
Thank you. And we remain focused to the commitment with regard to the fast response cutters that we're in the process of fielding in Alaska. The fast response cutter is a much more capable vessel than the 87s. The 87s frequently experience weather limits. As you know, it's a demanding operating environment up there. But I commit to working with you as we continue to look at how we meet our response requirements throughout the state of Alaska and understand the criticality of Valdez, particularly with the oil terminal in the salmon fishery, but look forward to working with you to ensure that that community has appropriate coverage.
Great, thank you.